It's either that or golf.
It's a world. Hi there, I'm Robert Osborne. We're here with Stephen Bogart, author of the book Bogart, In Search of My Father, for our next film and tonight's salute to our star of the month, Steve's dad, Humphrey Bogart. Now, our next movie is the fourth and last Bogart and Bacall film. It was made in 1948. It's Key Largo. Now, this movie, like several of Humphrey Bogart's films, has to do with the sea, which meant a lot to him, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he used to quote Hemingway when he said that the sea is the last great place on earth, the last free place on earth. And he bought the boat, the Santana, during this movie while he was making the movie. And of course, when we see the movie, you'll see that the boat in the movie is named the Santana. But this is the place that I saw him the happiest. He used to go away. Phil Gersh said he would go away 40 weekends a year, just to be on the boat and to cleanse himself of civilization, I guess. He liked to go out with the guys and you know, sit there and drink and tell stories and sail his boat. I mean, he was the captain too. It's not as if he had somebody else sailing the boat and he was along for the ride. He was the boss. He was the captain. And I had some great times on the boat.
I was going to ask if you went out. Oh,
absolutely. He wouldn't let me out until I learned how to swim. Mm-hmm. That was the first rule. But once I did, he took me out a few times. And there was one time where I had my first taste of lobster. I had a little wooden cage with a fake skunk in it, I remember. Stuffed skunk. And I pulled the skunk out and I propped the cage door open with a stick and I put in some crabs and lowered it over the side one night, figuring, oh, well, maybe some fish are going to swim in. I'm, you know, 6, 7 years old. What do I know? And the cage will drop down, the door of the cage, and I'll have them trapped. And the next morning I get up and I'm raising the thing up and it's getting heavier and I'm looking down and it's getting heavier and I bring it up and there's a lobster in the cage with the tail eaten off. And I'm screaming and yelling. My father's going, oh, fantastic, you can't. Well, of course, 25 years later, I find out that lobsters swim tail first, so how could it get in the cage with the tail eaten off? And then my mother finally tells me that my father confessed that they had lobster tails that night, which is why there was no tail. But that's just part of the types of things that they had on the boat, and there were a lot of fun times there.
And are you attracted to the sea like your dad?
I love the sea. I don't think that I'm as, I don't have a boat and I don't know how to sail. I've never, you know, once we moved from California to New York and you kind of get rid of that, even though New Yorkers, there are a lot of sailors on Long Island. But I love the sea and I love to go to the ocean and I understand what my father felt about it. And I love to go out on a boat. I just never learned how. You know, it's either that or golf. My father loved both and I've chosen golf.
Well, this movie is one of the great ones, and also, as we talked about earlier, one of the great things about some of these films with the great supporting players in the film, like Key Largo has Lionel Barrymore and Claire Trevor and Thomas Gomez and all those people. It's really incredible.
It is, it is. And as you look at all of my father's old movies and a lot of other people's old movies, I mean, the great stars that you hear continually, Jackie Gleason in films.
Ward Bond.
Walter
Bond. Brennan.
I love Ward Bond.
Great stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, here, enjoy. From 1948, Bogart and Bacall with Edward G. Robinson and directed by the great John Huston, Key Largo.